going home. The Richard is going home. Not that I think there's anybody watching, but hey, I got a few people last time, so yeah, who knows? Who knows? And that's how these live stream sort of things go, is that you gotta kind of cast the net before you can catch fish. One of those basic facts of life.
There's a 15-minute slowdown caused by a crash on California 60 East in 4 miles. You're still on the fastest route. In a quarter mile, turn right onto South Pecan Street.
You know, that's one of those things about my particular route home from this job, is at this time of day there is always bad traffic. And trying to make the best of this time, well, what can one do? I can't answer comments.
At the light, turn right onto South Pecan Street, then take the US 101 South ramp. Take the US 101 South ramp, then merge onto US 101 South. Continue on US 101 South for half a mile.
Alrighty.
In a quarter mile, use the right 2 lanes to take the California 60 East exit toward Pomona.
One thing I will admit is I don't like the fact that these things are constantly updating like this, but I mean, hey.
Use the right 2 lanes to take the California 60 East exit. Continue for 12 miles.
Alright, so I don't really need that anymore. I know my way home. I will admit one thing about Google Maps there, is that I do a lot less, what's the word? I do a lot less knowing where I'm going. You know, how to get back from my work is a little different every day, and I really just, you know, I mean, I guess I'd be able to go there on my own, but I mean, I rely on Google Maps a little too much. I don't have a set route. That's definitely a bad thing. I mean, I should know where I live. I should know how to get from work without, you know, the phone. Because what if the satellite goes? I mean, I'm not saying I can't get home, but I'm just saying, you know, it's better to be able to get home. Like to have a route you know. And once I get on the freeway, of course, I've done this, you know, thousands of times, but it's not, you know, it's just the area, downtown Los Angeles, I've never been terribly familiar with it. It's a spider web of streets. A lot of them are one direction. Anyway, so, yeah, I received a death threat online the other day. It's not exactly something that's abnormal for me. I mean, I'm Jewish. I've been told that all of my people will be killed many times online, but this time was a very specific person who, in one of his videos, said he was going to wage war against my life. Which, I mean, you know, this dude is a narcissist. He thinks the rules don't apply to him, and they do. I wonder if he'll give me a copyright strike if I play that clip on my YouTube channel, which I intend to do. I prepared it. I've gotten a lot of copyright strikes over the years. I've done things and it's like, well, you get a copyright strike for that. And whereas I felt that I was utilizing fair use, I took it like a man, okay? They don't want me using their material in that way. It's kind of a courtesy thing, you don't want to be a dick to people. I don't want to be a dick to Paramount or Sony. They get pissy about these things, all right, I'm not really terribly concerned, but it's like, it's one of those things that reaction videos are not something I like to do on my monetized channels. I've got unmonetized channels for that. Their content I can throw up there, it's like, okay, there's just something there. One more video, maybe it'll get a few views. That's a good thing. You want views. Okay, the traffic is almost stopped here. It's just crawling. Here's the thing, though. The dude that threatened me lives in Vegas, okay? So him living in Vegas means that I am going to have to file a police report with Vegas PD. So, I mean, that's, like, I don't know how that even works. Like, do I have to go to Vegas? Can I just call them? Can I email them? Every police department, every sheriff's department is different. I mean, sheriffs would be better. The sheriffs are county, typically, and police department is city. So, it's like where I live, there's no police department. There's only sheriffs. Okay, the boys in blue will never show up. There are no policemen. It's not officer, it's deputy. And that's a weird thing, I know, but I mean, don't really care. The moment I'm more concerned with the fact is this guy is telling his supporters he is going to wage war against my life. And, the wording there is pretty solidly like, no, dude. Okay, you're taking this too far. My experience with copyright is they send you a copyright claim, you send a counterclaim, and then it's up to them, or it's up to the copyright holder whether they want to consider the claim. That's what happened to me. I had a channel, they said, it's like, you can't use our material. And I was like, dude, this is fair use. And they said, you can't use our material. And it's like, all right, you know what? It's not worth fighting over. I'm not gonna make any money at it, but it's there's no value in me putting the video up if there's no value in me putting the video up if I'm gonna have somebody else making money on it. It just, so I by definition I take those videos down if there's a copyright issue. It's just one of those things. I will tell you this much. I eventually went on my channel and I found that there were a bunch of videos on Random Street Theater. There were a bunch of videos that were copyright, like non-monetizable. And I was like, okay, all these things are coming down and I'm going to put them on this channel. That's why you see a reaction video to Rectoma. It's like it's a movie about a giant butt that, it's the Godzilla of butts. It's not the My Sister of butts, because, her butt apparently can eat Godzilla whole, but that's not the point. Anyway, yeah, like I say, guys, I cannot read your comments. I am driving. I am on the 60. I'm going to grant that there's not a lot going on the 60 here, but I am on the 60. And I am going home. So you just get to listen to me ramble. I don't really know what to ramble about, so when this stream, when it's concluded, it will go private. I will switch it back to public. So, leave a comment on this stream or another stream. Whatever it is you want me to talk about, I'll get it done. Maybe I won't. I don't know. Not a lot of people on this channel so far, so it's just one of those things. you know, this is one of those dumb channels I just put out there because I had some rather unique content and it seemed like, well, it just doesn't fit with anything else. And I haven't made content like that in a few years. Which, yeah, I mean, it was vocabulary. The whole point was to expand my vocabulary. Um, I mean, there might be a market for that. I don't know. It's one of those things, though, is people tell me that I use words that no one understands. It's like, okay, well, why don't you say something? I'll explain to you what it means. Oh, there's a Tesla in front of me. You know, you would think that if the traffic is always there at the same time, we would be able to deal with it. You know, like, why is it that we always have, it's like, what, traffic at this time of day? You know, and it's like the off ramp here is absolutely, like, this is where the off ramp is at its worst. This is where the traffic is at its worst. Yeah, okay, there's an accident today, but I mean, that didn't contribute that much. You know, 40 minutes of my life sucked away by this terrible traffic, and, you know, what do you do? I had a job interview this morning, and it seemed pretty good, actually, and it's just one of those things I had to talk about. I was like, on my commute. It's like I'm not looking at getting rid of my job, I'm looking at getting another job. And they're like, well, um, what shift do you want? And I was like, well, I want a graveyard shift. Okay, what would be your second pick? Really don't have a second pick, boss, because, like, my shift conflicts with morning and night, or morning and evening. And that's one of those things. And it's like, look, this would totally suck. Because, I'm getting off at 6 o'clock, got this hour commute. My next job would start, okay, at 9 o'clock at night. So, I mean, it's like, I guess I'd go home, okay, I'd get home maybe around 7 o'clock, live stream for an hour, and then now it's 8 o'clock and I gotta leave for work. I gotta get ready for work, gotta shower and everything, depending on where work is. So on any day I'm working both jobs, it's very likely that I'm just not going to live stream, except for this. This is what I'm going to do. Okay? And what would happen then, of course, is that I would be doing this job 3 days a week. So I get to live stream for this channel 3 days a week. It's one of those things. Of course, then what happens if there's a bad accident? Well, I mean, you're stuck in traffic the whole time. But I mean, on the other end of things, it's like I'd get off at 5 in the morning, and then I'd have 5 hours to get to my day job. Which, I mean, that's plenty of time, so long as you don't want to take a nap or something. But I mean, I guess you could take a nap if you got like an alarm clock or something. That's it's not like terrible, but the hope would be that the day job would be my weekend from the night job. So it's like, only one day a week I would get off from the night job and go to the day job. And then only one day a week I would get off from the day job and go to the night job. And that would mean that I'm basically working 8 days, but it's not a big deal. For those of you that don't know, I live in Los Angeles, California, the Golden State. And that's kind of the problem, is jobs are hard to get out here because everybody freaking lives here, and everybody who lives here needs 2 freaking jobs. It's just, that's how it is. It's like people see my YouTube jobs, they're like, oh, you're a professional YouTuber. No, I'm not a professional YouTuber. I'm just some guy that makes YouTube videos in what little spare time he has. know, but my current job used to be 46 hours a week, and 46 hours a week was pretty good. I liked working 46 hours. I mean, I still wanted more money, but when isn't that true? Now they've cut me down to 32 hours a week, and it would be ideal for them to cut me down to 24 hours a week, which will happen sooner or later, whether I get it fixed or not, you know. I still think my job is gone in December, but I mean, that's really not the point. I mean, you know, life right now is a giant turd. And I mean, it's always kind of been a giant turd. This time it's a fresher turd with maggots in it, covered in flies and generally turding up everything around it. Funny thing did happen today. Well, I don't know how funny it is, but where I work, somebody left a pack of cigarettes for like a couple of days, just sat there. It was probably probably a guest, so they weren't coming back for him at that point, you know. Like they'd been here since, well, at least a week, 6 days maybe, but at least a week. So I saw some guy in the back and he was smoking, and I just grabbed the pack and I said, "Hey man, somebody left a pack of smokes if you want them," and tossed it to him. And it was like, you know, like I don't smoke. I've had one cigarette in my life. But you gotta figure there's no reason for a pack of cigarettes to go to waste. I mean, you know, I'm never going to smoke them. Maybe the cleaning crew will see them this week and throw them away. That's possible, but I'm never going to smoke them. See, this is one of those situations that I legitimately wish that I could get to the point where I was filming reviews in restaurants. Because I'm passing 2 restaurants I hardly ever eat at right now. But then, you know what? I'm also a diabetic, so being a diabetic, should eat at those restaurants anyway. Life is just a flutter of wings. In any case, yeah, traffic is still terrible. This is where it honestly tends to lighten up a bit. You know, it doesn't like get good, but it lightens up a bit where I normally am, and it's not. I no longer have a Tesla in front of me. I have a Tesla to the side of me, but I've got a disabled placard in front of me, so that's wonderful. You know, interesting thing nowadays in Los Angeles, I don't know if this might be all over, but nowadays in Los Angeles, they say, "Do you have reliable transportation?" Okay. And I mean, I'm not dead sure anyone who's ever asked me that has ever hired me. But, you know, like when I write a cover letter, I often say, "I have reliable transportation," something I say. You know, the job that I'm being hired for, the company, or that I've applied to, the company's only been around for like 2 years. And the guy said, "Do you know anybody that works for us?" I'm like, "No." He goes, "You know that if you're lying, we're going to fire you." It's like, dude, why would I lie about that? You know, I just, look, boss, I've never even heard of your company before. So, the best of my knowledge, I don't know anybody that works for you. You know? Now, is it possible, and it is highly possible, that I could show up and see a guard that I've worked with before? I have worked with hundreds of guards in my lifetime, you know? Like, I tell you something, I once ran into a guard that I hadn't worked with for 20 years. Okay. And I mean, yeah, we knew we at least worked some of the same. We didn't like know each other, but we'd seen each other on duty, and that's just one of those things. It's like when I went from Fullerton College to Cal State Fullerton, one of my classes, someone was like, "Oh, I know Richard." Yeah. Ugh. I don't know if this is entertaining you guys. I can see someone is watching now. Someone is watching. Looks like 3 people. Yes, 3 people are watching. Traffic is finally lightening up. So yeah, I don't have too much longer to be online. There's a corner that I switch off at after the freeway. Flatbed. Looked like it wanted to merge in front of me, but no. Yeah, we're really moving now. Almost 55 miles an hour. My car's old. It looks like crap. And I sit there and I think, do I care how old my car is and how much it looks like crap? No, I don't, because I work in Los Angeles, and if I had a nice car, someone would go fucking it up. That's just how Los Angeles works. I mean, if I were really wealthy, if I woke up tomorrow and I had 1 million subscribers and $100,000 coming to me in revenue, I actually have someone I would give this car to. And I mean, why? Because she is poor and, works minimum wage job. And I remember she said, "Oh yeah, I'm getting a job at Starbucks." And so she went out there and got a job at Starbucks. And then I see her back and I go, "What happened to Starbucks?" She goes, "Well, it didn't work out." Okay, happens. I'm not a big Starbucks fan. I don't know how Starbucks works out. I will say this much. If my food reviews on Random Street Theater made money, I would probably go to Starbucks. Okay, it just, they have sugary beverages to begin with, so it's stuff that's really tends to not be healthy for me. And then, every year I try their, pumpkin whatever it is, the cold version. But, that video never makes its money back, and I don't drink, hoity-toity coffee. Well, I mean, I'm known to drink some high-quality coffee, but I don't drink, hoity-toity coffee. I don't drink, beatnik coffee. I drink, Equal Exchange or, fair trade coffee, stuff like that. That's my poison of choice. And I used to work in a homeless shelter, and everybody said, "Richard, we know that you're here by the smell of the coffee." And the funny thing about that was I lived with my brother at the time, and he was like, "Hey, why don't you make coffee?" And I go, "Well, I work at night, dude. The coffee be there, sitting there all night." He goes, "I don't care, make coffee." So I would make a pot of coffee at home, and I'd make myself a cup of coffee. And then I would make another pot of coffee at work.
In 1.5 miles, take exit 13 for Crossroads Parkway.
I didn't know that thing was still on. No. Anyways, so I'd make a pot of coffee at work, and they're like, "We can smell when Richard shows up because it's that coffee." I remember somebody would, every now and again, an employee would be like, "Hey man, can I have some of your coffee?" I was like, "Bro, the best thing you can have with a cup of coffee is a friend with a cup of coffee. So, yes, by all means, drink my coffee. I'm not going to drink it all. There's a cop car going the other way on the freeway with his lights flashing. Yep. Sirens on. Definitely a cop, blue and red. Anyway. Yeah, back then I was drinking Equal Exchange coffee. It was fair trade coffee. And I was guaranteed that it came from a worker-owned co-op, that it didn't harm the environment, that, all kinds of good things about this coffee. And, of course, now I don't drink that coffee anymore because I don't drink nearly as much coffee as I used to. And that coffee is really expensive. I used to spend $60 on coffee every month. Sometimes it was ground coffee, sometimes it was beans, but that's what I used to do. Bad traffic. I was very proud of the fact that I thought I was making a difference. But no matter how a man like me tries to make a difference, the world just doesn't care. I've worked real hard. Like I remember every now and again somebody talks about how it's like, you remove a pound of trash from the ocean for every subscriber. Well, you pulled 7 pounds of trash out of the ocean. That's my biggest channel, 7,000 subs. And it's like, no, actually I pulled 31 pounds of trash out of the ocean. I got an email from 4Ocean telling me that. Look, I would love to have the money to go out there, and 4Ocean actually has a monthly subscription. I think it's like $20, $30 a month. I'd love to go out there and get that and do my bracelet of the month.
In a quarter mile, take exit 13 for Crossroads Parkway.
I don't pull enough money off YouTube to pay for that every month.
Take exit 13, then use the left lane to take the ramp to Crossroads Parkway North.
I mean, I do believe my total YouTube revenue was above $700.
Use the left lane to take the ramp to Crossroads Parkway North, then use the left lane to turn left onto Crossroads Parkway South.
In the last 7 days, or last 30 days.
At the light, use the left lane to turn left onto Crossroads Parkway South.
And that's because YouTube had a program where if I started...
In 1,000 feet, use the left lane to turn left onto Crossroads Parkway North.
YouTube had a program where if I started a YouTube membership, they'd give me $400. And I got an email saying I got the $400. It hasn't been added to my revenue yet, but I did get the email. So it looks like for the last month I like $700, which, I mean, I used to make more than that a week at the job I have now before they cut my hours. And there's some chick jogging, wearing black. It's not a good idea to jog wearing black at sunset. I mean, every now and again you say, why is that chick wearing hot pink booty shorts? Well, that's so you can see her when she's jogging, so you don't hit her with your car. That's kind of the point. Yeah, chick's wearing nothing but black and gray. Just think that's where my mind goes. That's where my mind goes. I didn't say, hey, that chick might be cute. Maybe I should take a look at her. No, I thought, hey, that's not safe. She should be wearing brighter clothing. Where's her reflective vest? Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, this is about where the stream ends. I generally turn it off right at this corner up here. So I'll be going live on Richard Leland Neal soon. Thank you for sharing this time with me. I, of course, am Richard.